When I was a kid, probably about 10, I think, there were a bunch of kids in my neighborhood and we were bored out of our minds, and we dared each other to go steal something from a local drugstore. And the thing that we decided to steal was these like little keychains that had like cartoonish characters attached to them. They had no value really, other than maybe the 50 cents they cost, but we just wanted to do it to see if we could do it. And we did, and I wound up coming home with like a dozen of these keychains. That was the first time I ever stole something in my life. And there was this like thrill to doing it and not getting caught. But then my mother like found all of the keychains and was like, "Where did these come from?" And I was like, "The drugstore." She knew I didn't have any money, put two and two together and made me return them. Oh my God, it was humiliating. That was a humiliating experience. And thus, that brings me to The Blue Guitar. John Banville is one of my all-time favorite writers, and it's because of the mental gymnastics that he puts you through. And reading this novel is essentially a character study, because we're gonna go for a walk now. There is no real plot to this book. I mean, if you can call it that, this is the setup. A man cheats on his wife with his best friend's wife. That's really it. But the man in question happens to be an artist, a painter specifically, who has lost his muse, but coincidentally is also a petty thief and has been for most of his life. And so the novel sort of delves into what it is to be a petty thief, what it is to be an artist who has lost his muse, and how are those two things related? Because the other stuff I just mentioned, the guy cheating on his wife with his best, that's just a consequence of the thievery and art. I think this calls for a trip outside. Let's go outside today. I guess the thing about John Banville is he is this intelligent and stylish author that uses beautifully descriptive metaphors that just kind of grab you by the collar and force you to pay attention. And that's the kind of author that I just love reading, no matter what they're writing about. But The Blue Guitar it just inspired me and hit me on a level that I had not expected. Let's go for a walk and I'll explain. Welcome to Venice Beach, California on this gorgeous Sunday morning. Okay, I keep having a ladybug try to fly on me. Let's get some of the basic stuff out of the way. The Blue Guitar, titled after a Wallace Stevens poem from 1936 called The Man with the Blue Guitar, which in turn was inspired by a Pablo Picasso painting called The Old Guitarist from 1903-1904. There's actually a quote at the very beginning of this book that sort of sets it up. "Things as they are changed upon the blue guitar." And then it goes into the book. And I gotta be honest, I didn't know what that meant until when I finished the book and I then looked up and read the Wallace Stevens poem. And it sort of kind of clicked in a little bit. And I say sort of because I think everybody's interpretation of poems and novels is your own, and nobody's right and nobody's wrong, and so this is mine. I also want to say, I don't know that it's possible, but I'm being swarmed by ladybugs right now. Can you see that? There he goes. It's interesting because this book is like a one-man play. It's this protagonist having a conversation with you, the reader, in which the artist is desperately trying to use words to describe an indecipherable problem. And that is what happens when the muse leaves the artist. Stealing, even by petty theft, all you wind up doing is just distancing yourself from honesty, from passion, from love. It's almost like an emergency ripcord that you pull when you have run out of ideas on how to get back to creativity, and you start acting out like a small child stealing keychains out of a drugstore at 10 years old. And you don't know how to express yourself, and you don't know how to get back to it, and so you jump into negative situations. The book, of course, turns out to be a cautionary tale that if you steal, if you lie, if you try to cheat others, you only wind up cheating yourself. You only wind up putting yourself at arm's length from that which gives you creativity, from honesty, from love, from passion. Even the smallest theft, the smallest lie, distances yourself from what you truly love. And I think in the end, that's what the blue guitar is all about. In its beautifully descriptive and yet somewhat bleak way. What's the lesson of the blue guitar? You are the blue guitar. Stop self-sabotaging. Be your best self. And stop stealing keychains. They weren't even that cool. So I give the blue guitar 2 out of 3 cats. And that's really just because it is intellectually stimulating, but didn't quite have the epicness of a novel that would give it 3 out of 3. So 2 out of 3. It's pretty damn good. By the way, just for the record, my rating system, cats, 3 is amazing, epic, blew my mind. I probably shed tears. 2 is just wonderful. 1 is I liked it. 0 is I didn't like it. I don't need to get into different grades of why I didn't like it. If I didn't like it, I didn't like it. No cats. And on the internet, that means more than anything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Just yesterday I hit 300 subscribers and I'm really so honored and so grateful that you guys come back every week. All my links are below for Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Tumblr. And please subscribe if you haven't already. And please leave a comment. Ugh, these ladybugs. You know what? If somebody made a movie about Attack of the Ladybugs, I wouldn't laugh at them anymore. I'll see you next week. Bye. Fucking ladybugs.